Hey guys, good morning all. Just give me a yes in the chat if everybody can hear me and see the sublime text. Quickly give me a yes in the chat if all of you can hear me loud and clear. See the sublime text. All of you can. Let me take this chat window a bit here. Looks better. All right, everybody can hear me loud and clear. Yeah, good morning to everyone. Let's quickly get started with today's session. I believe some of you are joining it for the first time. Some of you are returning from the first session. So I'll quickly do a revision, then I'll continue with this. Okay. Those who are joining for the first time, my name is Devang. I am your course instructor for data structures and algorithms. Today is our second class for this DSA batch, which started last week. Okay. So let's do a quick revision what we've covered so far, what we are about to cover today, and then let's go through it. So we talked about introduction to programming. The couple of classes will go through the intro to programming. We'll talk about introduction, basics of DSA, variables, constant, data types, operators, loops, and pattern printing questions. Okay, just to get familiarized with it. Since it was the very first class, we talked about a brief introduction about myself. I get to know about you guys, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now coming up to it, this course is going to be language agnostic. What do you mean by language agnostic? Majority of the times we'll be using Java, but obviously we'll switching the code between C++, JavaScript, Golang, and other developers as well. Okay. As I said, any data structures algorithm or problem solving round that you will have with any company, they would be language agnostic. So as long as you can write a clean code and optimized code, whatever language you're using doesn't matter. If there's a specific requirement for a particular tech stack, like for example, they're looking specifically for a Scala developer or a Java developer or Golang developer, those are exceptions. But in general, problem solving around are language agnostics. Okay. Product-based companies, somebody asked for how does the interview pattern looks like. So I've told you about how the interview pattern looks like for these product-based companies. Okay. Then we talked about starting with the very first part, which is DSA. What understanding we should have of DSA, data structures and algorithm. So first I told you theoretical example and then I correlated with the practical example. What is data structure and algorithm? These are two separate terms. When you say data structure, those are nothing. These are just the containers which are used to store data so that you can perform operations on it. For example, arrays, linked lists, tag, queues, trees, graphs, maps, sets, all of these are data structures, which are the containers you store data in it so that you can perform operations on it. When you talk about algorithms, those are step-by-step process to solve any task using appropriate data structure. For example, dynamic programming, recursion, divide and conquer, backtracking, searching, greedy, sorting, etc. Hashing, all of these are algorithms. To compare that with a real-life example or a practical example, I took a task. For example, there's a task, you have 20 liters of water and you have resources which are 5 buckets. The capacity of each of the resource or the bucket is 10 liter each. If the question comes, what are the ways to store water in buckets? How do we solve it? Let's talk about it. So first of all, you have 5 buckets, each with capacity 10 liter means 50 liter. So you can definitely store the water. There are multiple ways to do it. First way is that I can use only the 2 buckets, first and second bucket with 10 liter each. I can keep the rest of them empty. Or I can equally distribute among the 5 buckets with 4 liter each. Okay. And there are many other ways or thousand other ways that you can achieve. So here, water is representing data, bucket is representing the data structure, which is container, and ways are representing the algorithms here. That is what the data structures and algorithms is. Then we move to next part, which is understanding variable and constant. Variable, as the word says, vary plus able, means it is able to change the values of forms. Example, if I say integer equal to 10, now a is a variable here. I can suggest the value equal to 20, it will not give me any error. When you talk about constant, these are not supposed to change the value. So in some languages, const is a keyword. For example, C++, Golang, and Perl, you can use the keyword const. And if you try to change it, this will throw you an error. In Java, till JDK 14 was out, const used to be a keyword. But after that, they changed it to final. So if you make something as final, irrespective, it's a variable, it's a class, it's a constant, so on and so forth, you're not supposed to change the value of that. Okay. For example, if I make b equal to 40 here from this final integer b, now this is supposed to give me an error. We write down the code, we verified the same. Then we talked about something more important, which is compiled languages and interpreted languages. So there are two kinds of programming languages. One is compiled language, one is interpreted language. What is compiled language? It works in a two-way process. What is a two-way process? First, if there is a source code, it will go through a compilation. That compilation will generate a machine code. Then machine code will go to the execution that will finally give your output. Okay. That machine code is called bytecode in the case of Java and Golang, which is a .class file in case of Java. I don't want to use the word bytecode here because bytecode becomes very specific to two languages. So that's why I generally say machine code. In the context of Java, I gave you example of a live demo that we have done on VS Code as well. So you write something in main.java, you compile it, that is when you'll get main.class. The output that you're getting is generated from your main dot class. It has nothing to do what you have written in your main dot Java. Okay. So source of truth of output is main dot class. This is the complete flow that happens in compilation and execution. If you do not compile it, and if you change something in main.java, and if you do not compile it and you just directly run it, you'll still get the previous output. Why? The source of truth is not in this file. The source of truth is here. Okay. And this is important to know because whenever you use any online ID, for example, lead code or any other online ID for that matter, it's not like Java is behaving differently there. Java will behave the same way, irrespective you run it on a local server, run it on an online server, doesn't matter. From your code, there is going to be a dot class file being generated. It's just that it will be generated at the lead code server, which you guys don't have access to, right? And from that dot class file, it is getting run and it's giving you the output. Okay. Every time you click on run, you run the code on the online ID. That's what is happening every single time. Okay. Then we talked about interesting question, which is that if integer a is equal to 10, size equal to 4 bytes, how exactly it happens in the memory. So 32 bits will be reserved in the memory under the name in the registers. If I create an array, so that will be a consecutive memory. So 4 into 10, 40 bytes. So 40 bytes, which is 320 bits, that will be reserved in the name of array in the main memory, which is again registers. When we do assignment, when we say a equal to 10, we read the word a equal to 10, but what exactly is happening in programming? And this is specific, this is not specific to any language, this is generic. Any programming language you use, it is always going to happen same way. When you say equal to 10, technically RHS side is always assigned to the LHS side. 10 is assigned to A. When you say equal to B, B is assigned to A. And the simple way to prove it via code is that if I create two different data types, I say integer A equal to Devang. Now left is integer, right is string. If it was left to right assignment, it will give me error, integer cannot be converted to string. If it is right to left assignment, it will give me error, string cannot be converted to integer, right? So what I did, I printed, the output will be string cannot be converted to integer. So whatever is given on the right side, it is just assigning the value to the left side. Okay. Then we talked about data types. Number one, data type is exactly what? It's an identity of any variable or constant. Means what a particular variable or constant is supposed to contain or supposed to behave, that is what you call as data type. If I say integer A, means A will take only integer values. If I say string B, means B will supposed to take only string values. Now, here is a catch. As I told you about compiled languages, interpreted languages, compiled languages are strictly typed languages. Means there's a data type and very strictly a data type is associated with them. If I say integer A equal to 10, means A is supposed to only take the integer value till the program execution. If I try to give some other value to A, which is not an integer, this will throw me an error. Languages example of compile time languages are C, C++, C Sharp, Golang, Java, etc. In terms of interpreted languages, these are loosely typed languages. What do you mean by loosely typed languages? If I assign something to a string and I give a number, it will not give me any error. It can be a string, it can be a number because everything deep down is just an object. So if you look at A equal to ABC, I didn't say string A equal to ABC. I didn't say integer A equal to 10. Because there is no concept of defining a strict data type. There are data types. It's not like they don't have data type. They have data types, but these are not strict. These are loosely typed. Everything is entirely an object. So there is no strict type associated with a variable or constant. Everything is an object. Example include JavaScript and Python. So if you look at this code, I put just equal to 10, let equal to 10 or var equal to 10, however you want to initialize. If you print the type of A, it will say I'm a number. But if you say equal to Devang, it will say I'm a string. So it will convert itself based upon whatever value you are assigning it. Okay. And then you move to Python code. Here I'm printing it becomes an integer or number, and here it becomes a string. Okay. Then you finally move to types of data types specific to compile time languages. Some of them are common to interpreted languages as well. There are two categories that we can categorize. One is called the primitive or predefined. Other one is secondary. So primitive is something which is given by the languages, something that we don't make it. And second is non-primitive, something that user defined, which means we made it. So coming to primitive, on a broader category, we have four types: number, character, boolean, decimal. Inside the number, we have four subcategories: byte, short, integer, long. Character is only one, boolean is only one, decimals are two, which is float and double. Okay. So first we start with number one, the simplest one, which we call as character. Character means any symbol that you have on your computer or on your keyboard. Let's say small a to small z, capital A to capital Z, 0 to 9, any kind of symbol, they all are characters. Okay. So when you say characters equal to a, that is a character. When you put it in double quotes, that becomes a string. Now, one question that I have asked you is that these are all ASCII characters which is containing value from 0 to 255. So every character will have a ASCII code. One question that I have asked you was, other languages, it takes 1 byte to store a character. In Java, it takes 2 bytes to store a character. And I asked you that I'll ask this question in the next class. If anybody has got the answer, let me know. We'll discuss it at the end of once I'm done with the revision. Okay, that is for character. Second part is in the case of Boolean. Again, Boolean is one type which can contain true or false or 0 and 1. Boolean is the smallest because it contains only one bit, not byte, one bit. One byte is equal to 8 bits. So Boolean A equal to true or Boolean A equal to 1, same thing. Then we have the third category, which are in numbers. We have byte, short, integer, long. And in the decimal, we have two subcategories, float and double. Float take 4 bytes, double take 8 bytes. The difference is that float is precise up to 4 decimal positions and after decimal 4 decimal positions, and double is precise up to 8 decimal positions after the decimal. Okay. For the number specifically, byte, short, integer, long, I told you that mathematics formula, and we went through reasoning as well. How do we actually calculate their range? You don't need to memorize their range, but you just need to know the formula, how you can calculate it. Okay. Again, you don't need to memorize the formula. We went through everything one by one. See, how do we come up with the formula? The formula is that one byte take 8 bits. You need to know what size it takes. For example, integer take 4 bytes, short takes 2 bytes, byte take 1 byte, and long take 8 bytes. That's something you need to know. Now, understanding what can be the range, understand with a simple permutation combination. If I have 8 bits means either value can be 0 or 1. So if I talk about total number of ways that I can fill those 8 bits, there will be 2 raised to the power 8, which is 256. Simple mathematics permutation combination. Now, out of these 8 bytes, if I'm talking about only positive values, then I have the entire range available, which is 0 to 255. If I talk about positive and negative, means I need to split in half. So I'll talk about minus 128 to plus 127. So one bit is reserved for the sign or the parity. So either it can be plus 5 or minus 5, they will just differ by one bit only. Okay. So how does the formula becomes? The formula becomes, I'll first calculate the number of bits. One bit is reserved for sign, plus and negative. So my range will become minus 2 raised to the power n minus 1 to 2 raised to the power n minus 1 in the case of signed values, or 0 to 2 raised to the power n minus 1 in the case of unsigned values. Okay. Then we verified for the range. For byte, the range becomes this. For short, the range becomes this. For integer, the range becomes this. Try to remember this, minus 2 billion to plus 2 billion, because 90% of the time you'll, not even 90, 95 to 99% of the time you'll be using integers only, and few percent you'll be using long. Very rarely you'll be using short or byte. Majority of the times you will not be using, to be very honest. And for long, the range will become minus 2 raised to the power 63 to 2 raised to the power 63 minus 1. Okay. Then we talked about the use cases, why it is important to know these ranges. It is important to know these ranges because based upon the constraints, every problem that you will be solving, they will be given something called constraint, and it has its own use case. But one of the use cases is you can know exactly what type of data type you should assign when you're taking those constraints. For example, in this case, this constraint tells me that n can be up to 50,000. So if it's up to 50,000, I need to choose the right data type for it. I cannot choose a byte because it will not go up to 50,000. I cannot use a short, it will not go up to 50,000. I can use an integer, it can go up to 50,000. Use case 2, same example. If I'm given up to 50, so byte can fit, short can fit, integer can fit, long can fit. Now you need to make a conscious choice. If the range that you are dealing with, it can be done with only one byte, why do you want to take 2 bytes, 4 bytes, and 8 bytes for that, right? So the most appropriate data type would be a byte here. Then another part, I've just given a simple trick. Usually, if it is less than 10 to the power 9, keep an integer. 10 to the power 15, keep a long. 10 to the power 21, keep a long, which is in C++. 10 to the power 30, keep a big integer in Java. Anything more than 10 to the power 30, keep a string. 99% of the time you will be getting here. Very rarely you will go to here. So that's it. If you do extreme competitive programming, that is when you'll be hitting this part as well, 10 to the power 30. So in that case, you need to convert into string and then do the processing, so on and so forth. Second category is a user-defined type, which is class, interface, enum, string array, something that we define as a user and we define the structure of that. After covering that data types in detail, then we move to next topic, which was operators. So the first category we covered is a mathematical operator. Everyone knows a mathematical operator: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus. These are mathematical operators. Modulus specifically is a remainder. So example, if you do this, this will give you a remainder here. Then we talked about operator overloading, means one operator will behave differently with different operands. For example, if I talk about plus operator, it can behave different with integers and be different with string. If it's taken with the integer, means it is adding the numbers. If it is taken with the string, means it is concatenating the string. Okay. This is the example of operator overloading. Then we talked about relation operators. Relation operators give you the output as true and false. For example, less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, double equal to, not equal to. All of them will give you either true or false. So in programming, we have three different kind of operators in terms of assignment, equality, and inequality. So in JavaScript, we have double equal to and triple equal to. I covered that part as well. Double equal to means it's called soft check. You're just checking the value. Triple equal to is hard check. You are checking the value and the data type. So if you put A equal to B, in this case, the output will be true. But if you put A triple equal to B, the output will be false. It is a number, it is a string. Okay. Then you move to third part, which is unary operators. As the word say, unary means only one operand, binary means two operand, ternary means three operands. So unary operator means there's going to be only one operand. So your increment, decrement, and not operators are unary operators. Increment, decrement means what? There are two categories: pre-increment, decrement, post-increment, decrement. Pre means you're going to increase or decrease the value depending upon it is increment or decrement by one before, and then you're going to use it. So if I put a equal to 10, the moment I say plus plus a, the value will become 11 and then I can use it. The moment I say minus minus a, now 11 will become 10 and then I can use it. Post increment decrement means you can use it and then you can increase and decrease the value by 1. We took a good example to cover that. So if a equal to 10 and I have a plus 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 a. So the moment you say a plus plus, right? At this moment, the value of a will still remain 10. So this value become 10. After that, once you go, 10 will become 11. And then when you do plus plus a, the 11 will immediately become 12 and then I can use it. So it will become 10 plus 12, the output will be 22 here. That's what we debugged as well. Then you move to next category of operator, which is called its ternary operators. Ternary operator means you're going to have three different operands. So example of ternary operators are this if-else operator. So I put condition, success, and non-success. These are my three operands. That's why I call it a ternary operator. So if I have to write this if-else kind of a code in ternary operator, this is how I would like. Question mark represents the if, and this colon represents the else, so on and so forth. Everybody crystal clear with the revision? Quickly give me clear in the chat. Come on guys, be quick. Everybody crystal clear with the revision? Quickly give me clear in the chat so we can start with today's session. All right. Let's start with today's session. We'll start with continuing what we discussed for the operators. We discussed 4 different categories of operator. The last operator we discussed was ternary operator. So today we're going to start with fifth operator, which is what we call as logical operators. Logical operators also give me a true or false output, basically a boolean. Okay, one more question before I cover that. There was a Java question that I asked. I forgot where it is, but anyways, let's go back to character. Let me cover that so it's not missed from my sheet. Okay, I asked you this question, guys. Anybody got the answer? Come on, guys. Why Java takes 2 bytes? All other languages take only 1 byte. Quickly in the chat. Unicode. Okay. Anybody want to describe what is Unicode? Internationalization. Okay. Such a large word. Anybody who wants to simplify it? Global standard. Java uses Unicode. Platform independent. What does platform independent has to do with the character? Platform independent has to do with JVM and JRE. Global standard. Okay. Anybody else? Unicode characters, no more than string curve, okay. All right, guys, enough time. Let's get the answer. See, the reason Java takes 16 bits or 2 bytes is that in all other languages, we are talking about ASCII characters, right? Which is 0 to 255. 2 raised to the power 8 combination, 8 bits. That's why 1 byte is sufficient. For Java, we store them in a Unicode, UTF-16 format. When we say UTF-16 format, it supports some extra characters for sure. 16 bits resolves to 2 bytes. That is the reason Java takes 2 bytes for character. That's the only reason. Okay. All right, guys. Now coming back to logical operators. So logical operators are also Boolean operators. Boolean operator in the sense the output will be given as a true and false. Okay. What are the logical operators? Let's talk about it. And, or, you would have definitely known about this. Not and XOR. These are our logical operators. Okay. You probably would have, in your engineering syllabus, you probably would have made some circuit designs around them as well, right? And operator, or operator, not operator. These are the very basics, I guess. But there's another important operator, which we call as XOR operator. Okay, we'll talk about these XOR operators in detail. Now, what is AND operator? While you talked about these logical operators, you would have done something called a truth table. If you guys don't remember it, we are going to do it right now. Truth table means we take different kind of inputs and all possibilities and we try to understand what will be the output. What does AND do technically? AND says if both inputs are true, then the output is true. Otherwise, the output is false. So 1 and 1 will become 1. 1 and 0 will become 0. 0 and 1 will become 0. And 0 and 0 will also become 0. This is what AND operator does. If both inputs are true, then the output is true. Otherwise, the output is false. This is what we call as an AND operator. Everybody crystal clear with this? Come on, guys, be quick in the chat. All good? Cool. Second is OR operator. OR operator is exactly opposite of AND operator. What do you mean by exactly opposite? AND operator says if both inputs are true, then the output is true. OR operator says if any of the input is true, the output is true. Means 1 or 1, give the output 1, paste. 1 or 0, give the output 1. 0 or 1, give the output 1. 0 or 0, give the output 0. Okay. That is what we call with OR operator. If any of the input is true, give the output as true. Then we have NOT operator, which is just a flip, nothing else. When you say not 0, it becomes 1. When you say not 1, it becomes 0. And after covering these basic operators like AND operator, OR operator, NOT operator, we have something called XOR operator as well. This is important too. What does this XOR operator means? XOR operator means when both operands are same, then you put the output 0. And when both operators are different, then you put the output 1. So 1 XOR 1 will be 0. 0 XOR 0 will be 0. Or A XOR A for that matter would be 0. When both operands are same, output is false. When both operands are different, the output is true. 1 XOR 0 or 0 XOR 1. What is the output? The output is true. Okay. Everybody crystal clear with the logical operators. We talked about AND operator, OR operator, NOT operator, XOR operator. Any doubts, any questions, please let me know. All good? Yeah, cool. If everything is good, let's close the operators. That's what we have for the operators. Then we move to the next topic, which we call as loops. And after loops, we'll go for pattern printing. Explain XOR operator again. Okay. See, XOR means exclusive OR. Okay. What do you mean by exclusive OR? Let's talk about it. XOR says if both of your operands are same, the use cases will go to a bit later. We don't have the use cases right now. See, XOR operator is used in a lot of places. If I just talk about a real life use case, they're used in your circuit designs. In addition to that, XOR operators are used to solve queries quite often. Okay. So when we do bitwise operators, XOR is one of the most important bitwise operators. So if you have to do calculations real quick, if you have to find the answers by division, XOR operators become extremely fast because it works on the bits. So if I take 10, let's say 10 XOR 10, output will be 0. But how that output will be calculated? This will be converted to binary. This will be converted to binary. Each bitwise operator will work, then the output will become 0. So XOR operators are very important in terms of your circuit design, in terms of your electrical and inductance engineering. Plus, for bitwise operation, these are like saving us a lot of expensive operations. Okay, we'll go there once we go to the XOR operator. That's after the prime numbers. But quickly revising XOR operators. XOR operators, it says when both operands are same, the output is false. If both operands are different, the output is 1. So if you take 1 XOR 1 or 0 XOR 0, the output will be 0. 1 XOR 0 or 0 XOR 1, output will be 1. That's what XOR operator is. Okay, we'll do the questions on it. It's maybe 2 or 3 classes later. Once we cover the prime numbers, then we'll go to the questions of XOR operators. Okay. All right, line number 63. Yeah, that's what I'm explaining. So 1 XOR 0, 0 XOR 1, the output is 1. If both operands are different, that is when the output is 1. Okay. This is what the XOR operators feel like. So if you have true, XOR true, the output will be false. If you have false, XOR false, the output will be false. If you have true or false or true, that is when you get the output true. So 1 and 0 are denoting the true and false here. Okay, cool. If this is good, let's move on to any more questions on this? Any more questions on this? Okay. All right, guys, let's move on to the next topic, which is loops. What are loops in general? Not specific to a language. What is loops in general? Loop means same thing on repetition. Okay. Not just in programming, everywhere. For example, you must have seen it on few music players. You would have seen it on some YouTube or let's say video players. You would say play the music on loop or play the video on loop. What does that mean? Same video or the same music track will keep on repeating. That is what you call as a loop, when same thing is happening on repetition. Let's try to understand this with a question. Why do we need loop in programming in the first place? Imagine you don't know about anything about loops and there was no concept of loop, and a question comes that write a program to print, let's say hello world, 1,000 times. If you have to print hello world 1,000 times. So if we don't know about what is a loop in general, or there was no concept of loop, we'll be doing something like this. Copy, paste, and so forth. Till how many times? Till 1,000 times. All agree with this? All agree with this? If there was no concept of loop altogether, and you're given a use case to print something 1,000 times, means you'll keep on repeating it 1,000 times. Is that a good approach? Is that a good approach? And 1,000 is a very small number. Imagine a million times or a billion times. Then imagine the kind of programming we have been doing so far, right? So the concept of loops came and it made our life so much easier. Instead of writing it 1,000 times something or whatever number of times, I can simply create a loop, the different kind of loops based upon their use cases. I can say for I in range, whatever times I want to print, and I can print this guy. So whatever these 1,000 lines are supposed to do, this 2 line of code will do the same. That's important. That's how important a loop is. Okay. So whenever you to do something on repetition or same thing on repetition, that is when you club under a concept called loop. Okay. As I said, there are different kind of loops. We're going to talk about it. We have for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Each one of them have their use cases. For is an entry-based loop. While is an entry-based loop. Do while is an exit-based loop. What do you mean by entry and exit? In for and while, whether you can enter inside the loop or not, that will be determined before you enter in the loop. Okay, so there will be a condition check if you're allowed to enter inside the loop or not. Do while has that condition at the exit, means you can enter even if you're not satisfying the condition. So for one time, even if you're not satisfying the condition, you will enter in the do while loop. Okay, that is what you mean by entry and exit. Now coming to it, let's take number one, for loop. Okay, we'll discuss for loop. We'll discuss about the context. We'll talk about the syntax, and then we'll go one by one and we'll do some edge cases. The syntax of for loop is like this: initialization, semicolon, condition, semicolon, increment or decrement. Okay. And here you have your code to be executed. So the context of for loop is you write a for loop, you have an initialization, you have a condition, you have increment or decrement. So if I say integer I, for I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, and I can do cout I and cout I. Can you guys tell me the output? Forget about this line. Can you guys tell me the output of this loop real quick? Very simple loop, guys, quickly in the chat. I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. What is the output in the chat? Real quick. Guys, don't give wrong answer for this one. 10 seconds, be quick. All right, guys, enough time. Let's start discussing the answer. The correct answer is, let's print what is the correct answer. I equal to 0. What did I tell you? It is a 4 base. So first understand how a loop works, then we can talk about the output. That will make more sense. See, this is what you call as initialization, first part. This is what you call as condition, the second part. And this is what you call as increment or decrement. Okay. Now, how does that loop work? Try to understand that first. This initialization will happen only once. It will not happen it after. So this is not what you call as a loop. Loop will be the part of condition and increment, decrement, and the body of the loop. What will happen is you put I equal to 0. You initialize the value, that's it. It will not happen again. Now, it will check, since it's an entry-based loop, it will check is 0 less than 10. Is 0 less than 10? Yes or no? Is 0 less than 10? Yes or no? Of course, 0 is less than 10. So if 0 is less than 10, that condition is true. If that condition is true, that is when it will enter inside the body of the loop. What is doing inside the body of the loop? It is printing the value. So it will print the value 0. After printing the value, it will come here. Here. So it will say I plus plus, means 0 value will become 1. Now it will come back again. It will check 1 less than 10. 1 less than 10, yes or no? 1 less than 10, yes or no? 1 is less than 10, condition true. Again, enter into the body of the loop. Put in the value 1. Continue. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So this portion is what you call as loop, because this will keep on running whatever number of times. This part clear? Initialization is not part of the loop. You initialize it once and that's it. That is not something you will call as a loop. Loop is something which is happening regularly, right? So condition check, body, increment, decrement, condition check, body, increment, decrement, keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. That is what you call as a loop. This part clear to all? Okay. Now, till the part that you have printed the value 9. After 9, what will happen? This will become 10. Is 10 less than 10? Is 10 less than 10? No, 10 is not less than 10. That is when it will get outside the loop. So it will get outside the loop here. So the correct output for this would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I have a print statement here, cout I, at this moment, what will be the output? Line number 122. Correct. At line number 122, the output will be 10 because it has become the value 10. And since it has become 10, that is why it exit out of the loop. Everybody crystal clear with this? Yeah, it doesn't matter. See, I plus 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 A doesn't matter. They will matter once you're using assignment operator. If you're not using assignment operator, they do not matter. Okay. All right, guys. If that is good, let's write down a quick code for that. And then we can do one variation real quick. Let's quickly go to lead code. Let's do a quick variation. We can write the code super quick. C++ is fine. Any language is fine. Hash include bits std c++.h using namespace std is fine. Integer main. I'll remove the std part because I've used the namespace. What else? Integer I for I equal to 0, I less than 10. I plus 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 I doesn't matter here. Layout I want to give a space, given a space, then give a handle or backslash n, then print the value of what? I here. Run this code, what will happen? You'll get the output 0 to 9, output is 10. As we expected, everything is working fine. If I put less than equal to 10 here, how will that output change? Quickly in the chat. If I put less than equal to 10, how will that output change? Guys, I'm printing twice, so observe the code carefully. Correct. So if you put less than equal to 10, the only difference would be When it was becoming 10, it was getting outside the loop. Now when it will become 10, it will still be inside the loop. The output will be 10 here in this line. And then after when it will become 11, that is when it will exit out of the loop. So now if you run the code, I have an internet connection. Okay, so it becomes till 0 to 10, and then it will become the output 11 here. That's it. Okay, when you put less than equal to, you added one more part of the loop here. Let's go back to Sublime. Here we are. Quick code example and quick output example too. Everybody crystal clear with this? Quickly in the chat. Okay. Now, a quick question here. Answer this real quick. For I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. For I equal to 1, I less than equal to n, I plus plus. One moment, guys. Let me answer the question here. How does 11 come? See, same logic. How does 10 come here? Same logic. How does 11 come here? So you put less than equal to 10. So until 9, everything will be same. Now, when you go to 10 here, this condition is correct. 10 is less than equal to 10 means this condition is correct. So it will come inside this loop. It will print the value 10. After that, it will make the value 11. Then it will check, is 11 less than equal to 10? No, 11 is not less than equal to 10. So it will get out of the for loop. It will come at line 144 and it will print the output 11. Does that make it clear? Okay. All right, guys, next part of the question. I have written two for loops in front of you, line number 159, line number 162. Quickly, within 10 seconds, tell me how many times this loop will run, how many times this loop will run. Tell me the count of times this loop will run, this loop will run. Quickly in the chat. They both may run same time, they both may run different times, whatever the output, let me know. For example, if it is, let's say, a comma b times, give the output in a comma b format. Come on, guys, 10 seconds, don't take more than that. Be quick in the chat. Only as be quick, I'm getting very different answers. Okay, I think we have a poll option here, right? We do have a poll option. Let me do a real poll real quick. Both will run same time, same number of time. Option 1, yes. Option 2, okay. I just have given a question real quick. Quickly answer in the chat, guys. Will both run same number of times or will they run different number of times? Quickly in the chat. Be quick, guys. Almost 70% of you have completed. 10 more seconds to go. Be quick. 88%. Few of you are pending. Those who are pending, be quick. 4 people are pending. 3, 2 people are pending. Be quick, guys. 2 of you are pending. Be quick. I can close this. Okay. All right. Last 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see the results. So 45 of you have said it runs same number of time. 13 of you have said it runs different number of times. Okay. The correct answer is both run same number of times. See what you're doing here. You are doing 0 till n, right? Technically n minus 1. Take any value of 5, right? Let's say I equal to 0. I put I less than 5, for example. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Agree? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. All agree with this? Come on, guys, quick in the chat. How many times? 0 to 4. How many times? 4 times. Means n times. This loop is running n number of times. See, when you start counting, 0 to n minus 1 is also n. Simple maths. If you start counting, when you say I'm counting till n, you start with 1. So if you're starting with 0, then it should be goes to n minus 1, right? You should decrease from both the places. So 0 to n minus 1 is also n number of times. 0 to n is n plus 1 number of times. Okay. Then second part, I equal to 1, I less than equal to 5. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, 5 number of times. Both of them are running exactly same number of time, which is n comma n. Complexity of both of them is exactly same, which is big of n. Everybody crystal clear with this? Come on, guys, be quick. Those 13, 14 folks who were saying it's different, are you guys clear? All right, if everyone is clear, let's move on to next part. Complexity will come a bit later. It will cover after 2 more classes, but just to tell you immediate answer. As of now, consider time complexity simply as number of times a code is running, number of time executions are happening, just put it under big O, that is time complexity. Okay. We'll discuss that in detail once we go there, but as of now, to understand it, just count the number of iterations a code is doing, put it under big O, that becomes complexity. If it's running n times, big O of n. Running n square times, big O of n square, so on and so forth. Okay. All right. Now coming to next part. Integer I equal to 1, I less than 10, I plus plus. Explain what again? Explain what again? See, I told you time and space complexity is not something we are discussing right now. We'll discuss when we'll go there. It is 2 or 3 classes later. But immediately answering it, just immediate answer, it's not discussing in detail. Count the number of times a function or a code or any program is running. Whatever that number is in terms of n, put it under big O. So if a program is running n number of times, if you see a loop running n number of times, complexity is big O of n. If it's running n square number of times, complexity is big O of n square. Just count the number of iterations, put it under big O, that becomes time complexity. That's it. Okay. For an immediate answer. All right. Now coming back to this. We talked about the syntax of this. We have seen the output, so on and so forth. Tell me one thing. If I remove this part and I print cout I, what will be my output now? Guys, please think through before getting the answer. Please think through it. Will it give me a syntax error? Will it not give me a syntax error? If it gives me a syntax error, what is the syntax error? If it does not give me a syntax error, why does it not give me a syntax error? Then what will be the output? Think through it, then give the answer. Let me, I cannot create another poll or something. Let me create a poll. Output, syntax error, 1, something else. Or yes, quickly in the chat. I launched a poll. I'm getting interesting results. Okay. Come on, guys, those are pending to finish. Be quick. Finish the poll. I've given you simple 3 options. Answer is definitely one of these options. I am sharing the poll. I don't know why you're not getting the poll. Everybody should be getting a poll. Last 5 seconds for the poll, guys. Apart from two people, everybody has already responded, by the way. Last 5, 4. I don't know, guys, if you're not seeing it. I can see 57 people have answered. So I'm not sure if any particular person is not seeing it. Maybe update your Zoom version. It might be related to the Zoom version. And if you're joining on mobile, I'm pretty sure you will not see it. But if you're joining on laptop, you should see it. Okay. Anyways, I'm ending the poll now and I'll share the results. You guys can see the results of poll, right? You guys should be able to see the results. Okay. So 12 out of you have said the output will be a syntax error. 26 out of you, which is the highest percentage, almost 46%, they have said one will be the output. 18 out of you, which is 32%, they have said something else would be the output. The correct answer is something else. Understand what will happen. First thing first, will it give me a syntax error? The answer is no, it will not give me a syntax error. What did I remove? I removed the part of increment or decrement. You can remove increment, decrement, and you can remove initialization. You can also remove the condition here. None of them will give you a syntax error. Okay. You can completely remove it. So there is no syntax error, part one. Part two. What will be the output? Let's talk about it. We'll go through the same route. I becomes equal to 1. Is 1 less than 10? It's entry based loop. Is 1 less than 10? Yes or no? Is 1 less than 10? Yes, 1 less than 10. So it will print the value 1. Now after that, it will come here. Here, there is nothing to update. Agree? Here, there is nothing to update. Means value of I will remain 1. If you're not incrementing, not decrementing, the value of I will remain 1 itself. So it will remain 1. It will go back here. 1 is again less than 10. Again, it will enter inside the loop. So it will print the value 1 again. Again, it will go here. There is no increment or decrement. I will remain 1. So it will check the condition. Is 1 less than 10? Yes, 1 is less than 10. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. It will run for infinite number of times. What will happen at the end? Once you run infinite number of times, you will get time limit exceed. Everybody crystal clear with this. Come on, guys, be quick in the chat. The output will be a TLE, which is time limit exceed. Code will run perfectly fine. There's nothing syntax error code. There's no compilation code with the error. Now, Stack Overflow is something different. Stack Overflow is something different. Okay. Okay, I'm explaining it again. Let's code it real quick. I can explain again. I'll clear the console. I'll come back here. I'm just printing the value here. I'll remove this guy, not required. I'll remove this guy, not required. I just remove this condition. Okay, let's make it 1. Let's run the code. 1118436 and many more, many more, infinite number of times. See, first thing, same thing in Java. It won't make any difference, guys. The for loop is same in Java. Nothing changes. You will just print it like system.out.println. That's it. Okay. Now, first thing, did my code run? Did my code run? That's the very first question. Yes, my code run. So the question about syntax error is completely out. If there was syntax error, my code will not run. Agree? If the syntax error was there, code will not run in the first place. But my code ran means syntax error is not there. Now understand what is happening here. You put I equal to 1, you check the condition 1 less than equal to 10, which is correct. So you print the value 1. After that, there is no increment or decrement happening, means I will remain the same. So it will come back as 1. And after being back as 1, it will still enter inside because 1 is less than 10. So again 1. No increment, decrement, again 1. No increment, decrement, again 1. No increment, decrement, again 1. So 1 will keep on running infinite number of times till you will get a time limit exceed. There is a certain number of times your code is expected to work, which is 10 to the power 8 combinations. The moment it will hit that, then it will give you TLE. Infinite number of times you are printing it, you will get TLE. Everybody is still clear with this? Come on, guys, quick in the chat. Okay. Somebody asked me, Why not Stack Overflow? Let me give you the answer for that as well. Here the output will be a TLE, time limit exceed. Time limit exceed and Stack Overflow are completely different errors. Time limit exceed and Stack Overflow are completely different errors. What do you mean by that? Condition for TLE is run infinite number of times without memory changes. Here, am I touching any part of the memory? Am I touching any part of the memory here? I'm not touching any memory here. I'm just running infinite times. Okay. That is what TLE is. Stack overflow means you're touching the memory, and the memory which was allocated to you, you have eaten all the memory. So you have died out of all the memories. That's why you say stack overflow. Okay. Take example of that as well. I'll tell you. TLE versus stack overflow. These are two different errors. TLE, infinite times with no memory changes. You run out of executions. Okay, there's nothing related to memory here. You just run out of execution. Stack overflow is all about memory. Does not necessarily be infinite times. So it can happen is without infinite times also. Okay. The only condition is you run out of memory here. You run out of memory. So if you run out of memory, that is when you'll get the stack overflow. Does not necessarily you have to run infinite number of times or something. Okay. So take the example of stack overflow also. I create an integer, let's say factorial, integer n, return n into factorial of n minus 1. Now see what I'm doing here. The moment I write this code, this is a recursion, by the way. We'll talk about recursion going forward, but just to tell you, in this code, what is happening? If I put n equal to 5, what will happen here? Try to understand. You put n equal to 5, you would say 5 into factorial of 4. Agree? When you put n equal to 5 here, it will go inside. It will say 5 into factorial of 4. All agree? Yes or no? Okay. Then what next? Then it will say, if you put n equal to 4 here, it will say 5 into 4 into factorial of 4 minus 1, which is 3. Then it will go again. It will say 5 into 4, 3 will be separated, factorial of 2. Then it will go again. 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into factorial of 1. Then it will go 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 into factorial of 0. Will it stop here? Will it stop here? It will not. Why? Because you haven't told where to stop. So it will continue. 5 into 3 into 2 into 1 into 0 into factorial of minus 1, and so on and so forth, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. This will keep on running infinite times. But even before it goes to the word infinite, between just few thousand operations, infinite is a big term. For example, this would have reached to 10 to the power 8 computations, 10 million computation. Forget about million. Between few thousand computation, this will stop. Why? Because when you use recursion, you are using memory. There is a recursion stack that you are creating. Okay. That recursion stack is getting populated every time function or whatever the name factorial is called. There is a memory getting created. There are memory changes involved here. Memory is more sensitive than time here. What do you mean by more sensitive? If you have to die out of the memory, you will probably be given 256 MB or 512 MB. That's it. Okay, you'll mention that in the question. Time you are given 1 second per test case, usually. And memory will be given 256 MB per test case. You don't need to know all this. We'll talk about all of this in due time, but just I'm telling you. To overcome the limit of 1 second per test case, you need to do 10 to the power 8 computations. If you do more than 10 to the power 8 computations, that is when you will cross the limit of 1 second. To cross 256 MB, if you're doing in a recursion, just a few thousand calls We'll cross that. Okay. So long story short, Stack Overflow is necessarily when you have run out of the memory, when you don't have the memory enough itself. Okay. So forget about it running like few number of times within few thousand before even reaching to millions or something, it will get because memory changes are involved. Your memory is not terabytes, your memory is just few megabytes. And it's very easy to close few megabytes of memory. Okay. That's one of the reasons also you will notice that in your online assessment, you would be never asked question. 99% you would be never asked question related to linked list or to pointers. I don't know how many online assessment you have given or how many online contests that you have played, but ever notice you will not find questions related to linked list or questions related to specific pointers in an online assessment. The reason for that is, or even if they ask that question, they'll ask you in the form of an array. They will not give you direct access to the node. Because if you mess up with the memory, it will bring the entire system down. Okay, memory is sensitive here. Anyways, I'm not going into too technicalities, just giving the answer TLE versus Stack Overflow. TLE, no memory changes involved. Stack Overflow, memory changes are involved. Everybody crystal clear with this. Everybody crystal clear with this. Okay. Going back to the for loop, let's talk about the second variation of the for loop. In first variation, what did we do? We remove the increment decrement part. Now I'm going to the second variation. Now tell me the output of this. Again, let me do a quick poll. In the meantime, you can start giving answers in the chat if you want to. Let me create a new poll. Output. Will the output be an error? Will the output be 1? Will the output be something else? Okay. Let's launch it. Come on, guys, quickly in the chat. Finish the poll in 30 seconds, quick in the chat. If you're saying something else, what is that something else? Something else can be anything, right? What is that something else? Please answer in the chat. Come on, guys, be quick. 30 seconds for this one. Only there's enough time. I'm ending the poll. All right. 43 out of you have said it's something else. Let's see what is it something else. Stop sharing. Go back to the poll. Here we are. Let's see what is the correct answer. First thing first. Will there be an error? Will there be an error? No, there will not be any error. I told you can remove the initialization, you can remove the condition, you can remove the increment, decrement, doesn't matter. Okay. I equal to 1. If I equal to 1, it will just check for the condition. Do we have a condition? Do we have a condition? No, we don't have a condition. When there is no condition, by default, it is considered as true. By default, it is considered as true. Means you will enter inside the loop, whatever the value is. So you will print the I equal to 1. So output will become 1 here. Okay. Then you do plus plus I will become 1 to 2. It will check for the condition. If there is no condition, by default, it is true. So it will print the output 2. Then we'll change it to 3, no condition, 3, no condition, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, infinite number of times. Okay, this will run infinite number of times till it will hit the range of integer maximum. Then it will go to circular dependency, go to integer minimum, and so on and so forth. And so on and so forth. And eventually, it will give you the output TLE. You're running it infinite number of times, eventually your output will become TLE. Everybody crystal clear with this. Okay. Third and the last edge case. Why integer min, integer max? Okay. See, I'll cover that usually in later, but since you asked, let me cover that. See, integer has a range minus 2 raised to the power 31 to 2 raised to the power 31 minus 1. So when we say integer min, it means minus 2 raised to the power 31. And when we say integer max, that means minus 2 raised to the power or plus 2 raised to the power 31 minus 1. Now what happens is you're going to the limit, and since you initialize as an integer, there is a limit that an integer can hold. It will hit the hold, which is 2 raised to the power 31 minus 1. After that, you cannot have anything value greater than this value. Agree? Integer is not capable enough to hold anything value greater than this value. So what happens is it will hit into a circular dependency. If you add +1 to it, it will go to the integer minimum. It will start working in the negative. So after this, it will start with minus 2 raised to the power 31, then -1, -2, -3. It will go to the -1 part. And then again 0 to this, again minus infinity to this -1. Okay. This is what we call as circular dependency. And this is exactly what we call as integer overflow. Okay. Integer overflow. Okay, let me repeat it again. What I'm saying is, once you keep on increasing the value of integer, there is up to a certain value, the value of integer can be done. So it starts like this: 0, 1, 2, 3, goes up to 2 raised to the power 31 minus 1. After that, it cannot contain any value. After that, it cannot contain any value. If you give +1 to it, integer cannot contain it. So the next value after this is minus 2 raised to the power 31. And then it goes to keep on decreasing till the value -1. And once it goes to -1, again it will go to 0, and then again it will go to 2 raised to the power 31 minus 1. And then again negative values, then again positive values, so on and so forth. So this is how it runs. Okay. All right. Why did not start from 2 pre-increment? Okay, let me answer that question. I is equal to 1 here. You check the condition, you print the value 1. After 1, so why should it start with 2? The condition will happen after you have printed the value. Once you get out of the loop, that is when you'll do increment decrement. That's why it start with 1. Okay. You print the loop, you go inside the loop. After that, you do increment decrement. Okay. So that's why it'll start with 1. After reaching the limit of integer max, it will start with integer min. That is correct. That is what I explained here. Okay. All right, guys. This variation clear to all? This is what I told circular dependency, right? If you look at this is printing infinite number of times. This part is called integer overflow. So you go with 0, go to the integer max, then start with integer min, then reach to -1, again go to 0, again go to integer max, again go to integer min, and this will keep on running infinite times. That is what you call as integer overflow. Okay. Let me clear this. Let me clear this. Let me come back here. ++ I and I++ will be same. No, it depends what you are using it. In this case, it doesn't matter. If you're assigning it, that is when it matters. I explained this with the example also. If I say a equal to I++, now the value will be assigned first, then updated later. If I say equal to ++ I, both are two different things because assignment is happening. Here, there is no assignment happening. The increment or decrement, not even increment, decrement, the pre and post will make a change in terms of assignment. Here, I'm not assigning it to anything. So if it is no assignment, it will remain the same. Okay. What else? When we initialize integer, will it take signed or unsigned by default? Good question. See, one moment. Good that you asked. When you say integer, by default, it will take both positive and negative. So this is always a signed integer or any value, integer, long, any of the value byte short, by default, they are signed. If you purposefully said unsigned integer, now it will take only positive values. Okay. So if nothing is given, this is by default. By default. And if it is given, these are positive values. Okay. That's how it works. All right, guys. Any more questions? Any more questions? Anything that I missed? Let me check in the chat. No, all good. Cool, guys. Let's move on to the next variation. I put integer I equal to 5. I don't put anything here. I don't put anything here. And now I'm printing the value of I. Now tell me what is the output. Let me take a poll. error, by something else. If we choose the third option, guys, do answer. What is that third option? Quickly finish the poll, guys. I will share the poll with you guys quickly in the chat. If you are saying third option, do mention what is the third option. All right, guys, enough time. Enough time. I'm ending the poll. There you go. Let me share the results real quick. Okay. I see 4 of you guys still have said it will be an error. Okay. In the case of unsigned integer, will the loop not reach unsigned integer min? That is correct. But after that, we'll go back to 0. Instead of the negative number, it will go back to 0 and keep on containing it. Okay. All right. Coming to this, once you have 4 people have still said it error, 8 people have still said to 5. Okay. I'll stop sharing. I'll come back this. Stop sharing. Come back to this. What is the output? Let's talk about it. I is equal to 5. This part is already done. There is no condition. If there's no condition, it will take the output as true. So it will enter inside. It will print the value 5. Any increment decrement happening? No increment decrement happening. So this will remain the same. Again, check the condition. Condition by itself is true. Print the value 5. Then no increment decrement 5. Then 5. Then 5. Then 5. Then 5. 5. 5. 5. 5. This will run infinite number of times. Eventually going to TLE, which is time limit exceed. Everybody crystal clear with this? Everybody crystal clear with this? Okay. We have taken all the variations of the for loop without including the condition, without including the increment decrement, without including anything at all. Okay. We have taken all variations of for loop. Now let's take decrementing variation also. We have taken the ascending loop. Let's take a descending loop. I greater than equal to 0, I minus minus. See out I. I'm not giving any poll for it. Quickly tell me the output. What is the output here? Come on, guys, be quick. Be quick, guys. This should not take this much time. All of you agree? See what will happen here. You start from 10. You're keeping on decreasing it. Data type not mentioned. Imagine data type is mentioned. Okay. Cool. You'll start with 10. It will go to greater than equal to 0. Keep on decreasing. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. After 0, it will become minus 1. It will get out of the loop. So 10 to 0. Everybody clear with this? Everybody clear with this? Okay. Now, a bit on time complexity, but again, it's not spending too much time on the time complexity because we have a detailed topic coming forward. Okay, so just a bit on time complexity. When you write this loop I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, how many times this is running? This is running n number of times. Okay, so if this is running n number of time complexity will become big of n. Just count the number of iterations your code is doing, just put it under big of, that will become your time complexity. So I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, this is n number of time complexity big of n. If we talk about nested loops, let's talk about nested loops. There is something called nested loop, means there is a loop inside a loop. You have a loop inside a loop. So if I talk about I equal to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. Inside that you put j equal to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus. If you print the value of I and you print the value of j, what does that mean? Let's talk about it. Can you guys tell me the output here first? I equal to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus, j equal to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus. Can you guys tell me the output of this first? 1. Okay. Let's print it real quick before I run the code. Let's go back to our lead code. Let's start doing real quick. Meantime, you can continue with your answer. You don't need to wait for me. I equal to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. For j equal to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus. See out I space j. And once you do that, just a backslash n. Okay, quickly in the chat, guys. Before I run this code, quickly in the chat. All right, guys, enough time. See what will happen. You are running nested loops. The outer loop will run how many times? The outer loop will run how many times? Line number 7. 3 times. The inner loop will run how many times? 3 times. 3 times outer loop, 3 times inner loop. Total number of times? 9 times. It's a loop inside a loop. So if you run the code, what will be the output? The output will be, it will print the value of 0, 0. Okay. What did I miss here? Backslash n. We have this and this code now. Okay, better now. So it will print. It will print the penalty of 0, 0, then 0, 1, then 0, 2. So I becomes equal to 0. It will get inside this loop. So till this part is not completed, I will not become 1. Agree? Till the time it is not completed, I will not become 1. I will remain 0. So as of now, I is 0 and you are running j 3 times. So for I equal to 0, j will be 0, j will be 1, j will be 2. Then I will become 1, same thing, j will be 0, 1 and 2. Then I will become 2, j will be 0, 1 and 2. Everybody crystal clear with this code? Yes or no? How many times this loop will run? Quickly in the chat. 3 into 3, 9 number of times. That is what you call as nested loops. So I'll take this guy, print it here. Output also we have known it. Output will be 9 times. Here it is goes. This guy got the output. Okay. Now, the total number of executions. Imagine if it was n, it would be n cross n, which you call as n squared. Okay. Time complexity for such kind of a loop will be big of n squared. Big of n squared. Okay. Everybody crystal clear, guys. Quickly in the chat. Okay. A quick question on time complexity on that understanding, not going into detail, whatever the understanding that I've given you so far. Quick question, tell me the output of this. For I equal to 0, I less than p, I plus plus. For j equal to 0, j less than q, j plus plus. For k equal to 0, k less than r, k plus plus. Or let's do the other way around. K equal to r, k greater than 0, k minus minus. Tell me the output of time complexity of this. Quickly in the chat. I'd always have doubt about big O. We'll cover that in the time complexity. As of now, I'm just telling you what is time complexity, how you have to immediately calculate. How do you calculate? Someone guys be quick. Okay. All of you giving correct answers. See how many times it is running. Outer loop running p number of times, inner loop q number of times, just running r number of times. So complexity is what? P into q into r. All agree yes or no? If it was n each, complexity will become big of nq, but since it is pqr, it will become p into q into r. Okay. All right. One quick follow-up question on time complexity, just because on the basic understanding you have. Count the total number of iterations, put it under big O, that becomes a time complexity. Okay, basic understanding. Detailed theory of time complexity, we'll do it in upcoming classes. Okay, quick question right now. I'm going to give you 6 questions and I'll tell you the format in which I want the answer. And for those answers, I don't want you to message to everyone. Please listen to the instruction carefully before giving any answer. Since it will be a group of 6 questions, I would prefer answer in a certain format. Then I'll give you enough number of times so you don't need to worry about answering it quickly. Just make sure you answer it correctly rather than answering it quickly. Okay. You will not be messaging to everyone. It has option. Zoom has option to message to me directly. So I don't want you guys to get confused by other people answer or vice versa. Let everybody think. Let everybody give answer. Once everybody has given answer, we'll do a discussion. Instructions clear so far? I'll give you 6 questions. I will tell you the format to give the answer. Please change your message directly to me while giving the answer. Do not message to everyone. If you have a question you want to ask, you can message to me directly. You can message to everyone directly. Totally your choice. But during the time I will give you, please change your message directly to me. Do not confuse other people and vice versa. Okay, let everybody think. Let everybody give their answers. Now, starting with one. And most of the time, we'll be doing the same. For example, when you're answering, you message to me directly. And when you're asking a question, you can ask to everyone. So everybody's can share the knowledge. But when you answer, let everybody think, because sometimes when you're answering it, other people might have different answers, but they thought that your answer is better. So they will just adapt your answer. So let everybody think. That's the reason I ask people to directly message the answer. Okay. All right. Let me first write down certain questions. And less than n by 2. All right, guys. The kind of output that I expect is I have given you total of 6 questions. For each one of them correspondingly, there would be certain complexity, right? 6 values. Now listen to the instruction carefully before giving the answers. There are 6 questions. Each one of them will have certain complexity in big O. Okay. Whatever you think the answer of first, put it in this. Answer of second, put it in this. Third for this, so and so forth till the sixth part. All of you, each one of you, I would just need one answer in one line representing 6 big O notations representing the complexity of 1 to 6. Instruction clear to everybody. The format in which I want the answer. 6 questions, one line giving 6 big O complexity, specifically referring first to first, sixth to sixth. Simple order. Okay. Now I'm giving this format in the chat. Whatever you guys think is the correct answer, think about it, then give an answer. There is no rush for the answer. We have sufficient time, so don't rush into the answer. Please change your message directly to me. Do not message to everybody else and start giving the answer. I'll give you 2 to 5 minutes, whatever time you need. Once you guys are done, just let me know in the chat. We can have a discussion. Everybody crystal clear. Any doubts, any questions? Everybody clear? Any doubts, any questions? Okay. If everything is good, your time starts now, guys. Please change your message directly to me. Do not message to everyone. Once you guys are done, I'm giving you 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever time you need. Once it is done, then we can start discussion. Please don't focus on the time, focus on the correctness of the solution. Okay. Your time starts now. All right, guys. Do you need more time? Does any one of you need more time? Or can we discuss? Quickly in the chat, guys. Do you need more time or can we discuss? I see some people are still answering. Okay. You can message to everyone now. Most of you are saying discuss, so let's discuss the answers. Okay. All right, guys. Change your message directly to everyone. You don't need to message to me anymore. Let's discuss the answers now one by one. Let's validate all of you have given the correct answers or not. First question, everybody would have given the correct answer. This is big of n. Agree? N number of times it is big of n. Cool. Next part. This is running n by 2 times. So this is n by 2 times. I told you whatever number of times, put it under big O. So this becomes n by 2. All agree? First and second answer, everyone agrees. First is big of n, second is big of n by 2. Everyone agree with this? Okay. Third one. This is interesting one. I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus equal to 2. Now understand one thing here. When you take 10 stairs and you take one step at a time, how many steps you have traveled? If you have to climb 10 stairs, you take one step at a time. You have climbed how many stairs? You climb 10 stairs. How? 10 divided by 1 equal to 10. Same question, you have to climb 10 stairs. Now you're taking two jumps at a time. How many effective stairs you have taken? 10 by 2. Correct. This is the same thing happening here. You have to go to n, but rather than taking one step at a time, you're taking two steps at a time. So if you're taking two steps at a time, this would become what? Big of n by 2. All agree with this? Yes or no? Think in real life with a staircase example, it will become much easier to understand. You're taking two steps at a time, and since if you're taking two steps at a time, this will become n by 2. Okay. Next one. Here you're taking three steps at a time. So n by 3. Next part. Here you're taking how many times? You're taking n k steps at a time. So it will be big of n by k. Everybody clear till 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody clear with this? Okay. Now the last part. You are taking k steps, but this time your number of stairs is not n, it is n by 2. So output will be n by 2, and then you have k, so n by 2 into k. This will be the output. This is your final answer. Everybody crystal clear with all six? Give me yes in the chat. Any doubts, any questions, please ask. Okay. If everybody is crystal clear, now tell me how many of you got all six correct? Those who got it correct, just say correct in the chat. Those who not got it correct, just say no in the chat. Okay, I can see a few no's in the answer. Okay. All right, no worries, guys. Most of you I can see the correct, some of you I can see the no. That's completely fine. You'll get used to it once you do more questions and so on and so forth. Okay. One more thing to answer. A lot of people say that n by 2 is also n, 2 into also n. That is correct. We generalize it by saying n by 2 is n by 3 is n by 4 is n by k is n. I agree with that. I'm not denying that part. But when I'm talking about this time complexity, I want the exact time complexity, right? A lot of people say that big of 2 into n is also considered to be big of n. Yes, we do that. I'm not denying it. Big of n by 2 is considered also big of n. Any k into n is also considered big of n. I'm not denying that. But in this question specifically, the reason I asked this question is I wanted to know exactly how many times the code is iterating. And that is your exact time complexity. The reason we classify k into n into big of n just to classify between n, n square, n cube, and so on and so forth. Okay. Technically, it is not considered. We just do it in terms of classification. But if somebody asks you complexity, this is the correct answer. If you say this, nobody can deny your answer. Let's be very clear about it. Nobody can deny this answer. Yes, to simplify it, you want to say something this, you can do it. N by 2k is right. N by 2k is n by 2 into k. Same thing. So when you have denominator and denominator, that will just get multiplied. So this 2 will multiply with k. Okay. But you're keen on exact time quantity, which makes sense. Cool. All right, guys. Everybody clear with these six? Then I can move to the next question. Okay. All right, guys. Let's quickly move on to the next question. Let's start solving some questions now. We have done enough of theory. Coming back to where we are done with the loops. We'll start with the pattern printing question in some time, but before that, let's do some questions. Can n by 3 be simplified to n? Yes, it can be. But again, n by 3, if it is actually counting n by 3, it is a completely correct answer. You want to say it's equivalent to big of n, you can. But if you say n by 3, nobody is denying that answer. Nobody can deny that answer. Okay. All right, guys. Let's move to question number 2 real quick. This is a good one. You're given three values. You need to find the maximum of three values. Okay. You're given A, B, and C. A is equal to 10. B is equal to 20. C is equal to 15. What is the maximum out of them? Maximum out of them is 20. Okay. A equal to 20, B equal to 20, C equal to 20. What is the maximum out of them? 20. The output is 20. Okay. Now what you need to do is max of 3, integer A, integer B, integer C. You need to complete this function in whatever way you want. Of course, there can be multiple ways you can code it. I give you the freedom to use whatever way you want to code, whatever language you want to use, totally up to you. You want to use some inbuilt function, feel free to do that. I'm not denying even that as well. Okay. The question is, you have to complete this function in any language, any way of implementation that you want. You're given 3 numbers A, B, and C, and by the edge case, you would have known these numbers can be same as well. You need to tell me which is the maximum of the 3 values. Question crystal clear to all? Question crystal clear to all? Yes or no? Okay. If question is crystal clear, let me put that in the group chat. This is the function that you need to complete. You guys can change your method directly to me. You guys can start coding. Once you are 100% sure your code is working correct, that is when you can give it back to me. In the meantime, I'll start writing some edge cases. I'll give those edge cases also. Please run that code on the edge cases and then give the answer. There is no rush to give the answer. Make sure you're giving the correct answer. That's the only thing. Okay. So integer max of 3, this guy. Let me make the edge cases. You guys can continue. You don't need to wait for me. You can start coding. So 3. Let's make 10, 25. First test case, 4 test case should be fine. 10, 20, 10. Guys, complete the code, then give it back. Give me the complete function back. 10, 20, 30. 10, 20, 20, 20. And 20, 20, 10. Okay. All right, guys, real quick. First part. First test case, what should be the output? First test case, what should be the output? All agree, it should be 20. Second test case, 30. Third test case, 20. Last test case, 20. Let me add one more test case. Minus 15, minus 10, minus 10. Now what is the correct output? Minus 15, minus 10, minus 10. Quickly in the chat. Correct, minus 10. Whatever code you are writing, verify you are getting the correct output for these 5 test cases every time. You can write multiple test cases. My idea was just to tell you it can be positive and negative both. Okay. Complete the code. There are multiple ways to solve this question. You can solve it in any language of your choice. I'm not concerned with language. I'm not concerned with approach. Just make sure your code is giving you the correct output. Okay. Change your message directly to me. You can start coding. I can give you 2 to 5 minutes, whatever you guys need. Once you guys are done, then we can have discussion. Please run your code through these edge cases. Once you feel it's 100% correct and you feel confident of it, I can take any one of your code. I can run the code. We can see the output. Okay. Your time starts now, guys. Once you're done, just let me know in the chat. All guys, enough time. Enough time. Do you guys need more time? Let me know. If you're good to discuss, just let me know in the chat. Come on, guys, be quick. Shall we discuss? Okay. All right, I'm not taking any more answer. Let's quickly start with discussion. There are multiple ways you can code this question. Particularly, I wanted this test case to work. So those who are confident that this test case is working, please check. Okay. Because I see some of the code where this test case will not work. Okay. Anyways, coming to it, let's see multiple ways. There are many ways to solve this question. Let's start with the simple way, which is ternary operators. I define integer largest equal to 0 and largest equal to, I can keep it at C, right? If A becomes greater than B, the answer becomes A, else the answer becomes B. Okay. If C is greater than that, the answer is C, else if A is greater than B, answer is A, else the answer is B. Simple. Did I miss anything? This guy closes here, this guy closes here. No, I did not miss anything. Okay. This part. That is one simple way you can do it by ternary operators. Okay. And then, of course, you return the largest. Let's check this part of the code. We get 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 means everything is true. The code is working completely fine. All agree? First way of writing the code, everyone agrees. Quickly in the chat. Ternary operators. Okay. I'll copy this. I'll take it to Sublime. Then I'll add the second and third as well. Okay. Let's go back here. Now let's make some changes real quick. Let's go to the third way. Simple ways I'm covering, and then I'll go to the second one. I'll just define integer largest. I can use the inbuilt operator, which is max, right? I can take max a comma max of b comma c. What does that mean? Find me the max of b comma c, whichever is maximum, compare it with a, give me the answer. Okay. Let's clear this. Let's run the code. Something is missing. We have to return something. Return largest. Clear this. Run the code. Now see the output. All test case pass. All test case pass. Simple code. Simple max operator. Hardly takes two parameters and given by the language itself. So saves us a lot of time. We covered first way. We covered third way. Everybody clear with these two ways first. First way, ternary operator. Third way, using a max operator. Okay. Now the second way, which is a bit longer, but let's see about the complexity of that as well. Okay. I'll remove this. Let's go with the second way. What is second way? The second way is you can compare with each one of the cases, right? Obviously, you can do a first and third also, I'm not denying it, but if you want to do it, you can do it by the second also. For second, I'll initialize largest with 0. I'll keep this part. First, I'll go with the regular case. So I'll put if A is greater than equal to B and A is greater than equal to C, then largest is equal to A. Else if B is greater than equal to C and B is greater than equal to A, largest becomes B. Else largest becomes C. This part crystal clear to all. It's a super simple code, nothing complicated I'm doing here. I'm just comparing. If A is greater than everything, you set the answer A. A is greater than equal to C. If B is greater than everything, you set the answer to B. If C is greater than everything, you set the answer to C. All agree with this? Leave me clear in the chat. Okay. Do you think this will pass our test case? Do you think this will pass our test case? Let's see. It will pass our test case. Okay. However, there's one thing that I want you to improve in this code. Let me take the second way because it will also pass our test case. I take it here. Give it back to the Sublime. Okay. So second way, this guy, three ways. We've done three ways. All of them is giving the correct output. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 means all test case pass for me. However, one piece of advice that I'll give you, which will save you a lot of time and any kind of exception in the future. There's no exception in this particular question or this test case. That's why it is passing all the test cases. One piece of advice is whenever you need to find minimum, always initialize initialize with integer underscore max. Whenever you have to find the maximum, always initialize with integer underscore max. Okay. The reason that I'm talking about it is, let's take a simple reason to understand. Let's say the loop was something like this: I equal to 0, I less than n, whatever that n is, I plus plus. Okay. I define result equal to 0. And then I'm trying to compare result equal to max of result and array of I. I'm trying to find what is the maximum value in the array. Now think of the use case. If you initialize the result with 0, if you initialize the result with 0, and array contains something like this: -10, -10, -15. What is the expected output? What is the correct output? What is the maximum value in this array? If you're given -10, -10, -15, the correct output is, no guys, look at the array. What is the correct output? What is the maximum value here? Maximum value is -10. Is your logic incorrect? Is your logic incorrect? Let's talk about this. Line number 509510. Is your logic incorrect? What you're doing in this code, just look at these two lines. What you're doing is you're comparing with every value in the array. So your logic is correct. Logic is completely correct. But will it give you the correct output? Will it give the output -10? No. What output it will give you? It will give you the output 0, which is not correct. Now, what is wrong with this code? The only thing wrong with this code is not the logic. You're iterating over there, you're comparing whichever the maximum value, that logic is completely correct. But what you did wrong was, or what's wrong in this code is line number 507. You initialize result with 0, assuming every value will be positive. If you're dealing with the test case where value can be negative, no value will be greater than 0. Agree? If values are negative, no value will be greater than 0. In that case, there will not be a condition where you can see any value crossing the 0. So answer will remain 0, which is incorrect. So just as a rule of thumb, just to be on the safer side, whenever you have to find the minimum, initialize with integer max. Whenever you have to find the maximum, just initialize with integer max. You'll always getting the correct answer. You will never even encounter any scenario in which you will not get the correct answer. Okay. Now this will work completely fine. Now your current output will also become -10. You will get all the correct answers. Come on guys, be quick in the chat if everybody is crystal clear. Yes, you can initialize with first element also, because if you initialize with the first element, then it will continue. But my piece of advice, initialize with integer max, integer min, always be on the safe side. Okay. All right, guys. If everything is good, we have roughly 5 minutes, so I'll quickly revise it rather than starting with a new topic. Oh, yeah, you have to find the maximum, so integer min, correct. Maximum means integer min, minimum means integer max. Okay. All right, guys, let me quickly revise what we discussed in today's session before we can wrap up this session. Okay. The next part is pattern printing. That is something we'll start with tomorrow, the pattern printing part. Anyways, a quick revision. This I'll tag it as work in progress. We'll start and we'll continue. First thing we did a quick revision. Then we talked about the logical operators, which is the fifth kind of operators. Logical operators give you a Boolean output, which is true or false. We talked about AND operator, OR operator, NOT operator in detail, along with truth table. We talk about XOR operator. So in XOR operator, if both operands are same, your output becomes 0, and both operands are different, your output becomes 1. Okay. Then we talked about loops. Loops means we are doing the same thing on repetition. So if I have to print, let's say, hello world 1,000 number of times, this would have been a very big trouble if we don't have a concept of loop. We talked about three kind of loop: for loop, while loop, do while loop. For and while are entry based loop, do while is exit based loop. We talked about the syntax of for loop. We talked about the output. We talked about where does the output work. We write down the code, so on and so forth. Okay. Then we talked about the edge cases. If I don't give any increment, decrement, we talked about TLE versus stack overflow. We understood the difference: when do we get TLE, when do we get stack overflow, wherever the memory changes are involved. We talked about the condition when there is no condition given. We talked about when there is no initialization given, so on and so forth. All edge cases we have talked about. We talked about a decrementing code. We talked about complexity a bit. Then we talked about nested loops, the output, questions based upon time complexity, just for understanding time complexity overview. Then we did a question finding three values, finding maximum of three values. So we talked about three different ways: using ternary operator, using the simple logic, which is comparing between three values, and then using max operator as well. And finally, we talked about a example where it is important to initialize with integer max in case of finding minimum, integer min in case of finding maximum. One edge case we talked about here. Everybody crystal clear with whatever we have learned in today's session? Come on guys, quick in the chat. Everybody crystal clear? Any doubts, any questions? Zor is like what? Zor is like nothing. Zor is like Zor. What do you mean by like equal to what? Zor is like double equal to? No. Zor is not like double equal to. That's what you're asking. No, Zor is not double equal to. Zor is an operator itself. Okay. To your question, out of these three ways, which one is more effective? Time complexity of each one of them is big of 1. It's just that how shorter you want the code. Complexity of this is big of 1. Complexity of this is big of 1. Complexity of this is big of 1. Okay. So they all are equally efficient. However, a lot of people prefer coding it this way because it's easier. Ternary operators are easier. It's but nothing to do with the time complexity. Okay. They all have the same time complexity. All right, guys, if everything is good, let's wrap up the session here for today. Let's catch up in the tomorrow session. We'll continue with pattern printing questions. Okay. All right, guys, thanks for joining in and have a good day. We'll connect in tomorrow's session and we'll resume with pattern printing.